Good afternoon, and thanks for joining me for week one of Dilbeck Real Living, talking about Jumpstart using MarketAdvantage. And today is the first part of a 5-week webinar series. I'm glad to see that a lot of you are joining us here. In fact, the attendee list keeps clicking upward, so we'll actually give those folks a couple minutes to get logged on and make sure that they're able to finish that last phone call or send that last email and get in and take advantage of seeing this. I'm excited to do this 5-part series. I've been doing these for Real Living offices and different franchises now for about 3 months, this particular 5-week course. And it's been fun for me, and I think it's been really productive for those offices and those agents within there, because the MarketAdvantage product is a really big product. I mean, there's a lot that you can do in there beyond, sending flyers or putting an email out to somebody. There's a lot of opportunity there, and I could give you an overview for an hour or two and send you on your way, but we found that it's been really effective to do it in sort of this class format where you can see some, hopefully what I think is cool stuff once a week, spend an hour looking at something new and different ideas, and then be able to take that back and kind of digest it and take it off in small bites like that and really have good success. So glad that you could join me. Again, it looks like everybody's just about logged in. We have a really, really big group. So I typically just run through these lessons. They are about 45 minutes, and then we have question and answer time at the end. If questions come up as we go along, and they frequently will, I'm going to ask you just to type those in the question log. There was a set of tools that came along with your login when you logged into this GoToWebinar, and they've probably already moved themselves off, sort of closed themselves up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. If you're familiar with GoToWebinar, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, you should see just a really small, sort of a shrunken version of those tools. The top one is an arrow in a box. If you press that arrow, it will expand your tools again. So if you find that I'm talking about something that you want to ask a question about at the end, go ahead and type it in that question log, and we'll do a little review at the end. I'll read the questions back so that everybody can benefit from those, and hopefully I'll have the answer, and we'll get them answered right away. That being said, that's really my only housekeeping for these webinars. It's going to be fun. It's going to be not really intense. Today's probably the easiest of the 5 weeks. I will ask you to just look at some things, in the week between, sometimes kind of as homework, just so you can see what's available, or maybe it's a review of what we talked about. But other than that, I hope you just join in and have some fun, and then you can walk away from each week and go do some cool stuff in MarketAdvantage out of that. MarketAdvantage is a product that was built exclusively for Real Living by Sharper Agent. I'm circling my logo down there in the lower left-hand corner of your screen. That's who I work for. And my apologies. My name is John Jones. You've been getting emails from me about this webinar series, and I'll be conducting all 5 of these. So joining me on Mondays for the next 5 weeks. I appreciate that. Okay, that being said, the last little thing is we are recording these. So if you find that there's a session that you miss, or you had an associate that wanted to be here and couldn't be here today, or you just want to review it again, they are being recorded. I'm going to forward the links to those recordings to your marketing director for Dilbeck, and Lori Hawkins, and she'll be able to share those links with you, so you can go onto YouTube and view those and review them at your own leisure. So again, that being said, it's going to be fun. Today's kind of an overview. We're going to talk about branding, and then in following weeks we're going to talk about some dedicated things each week. So that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. This should look familiar to you. If you've logged into your MarketAdvantage account before, you'll know that this is the first thing you see when you log in. Now remember, you go in through the Business Center. So you're logged into the Real Living Business Center. The Business Center already knows who you are. So then when you, over on that left-hand side, you click on MarketAdvantage, it's going to take you into your own MarketAdvantage account, and that's where I am now. I'm in a test account that I've set up and that I use for doing these demonstrations. Yours should look exactly like this. However, if you're using the Business Center for your contact management, you'll find that MarketAdvantage will automatically pull your contact records over from the Business Center. So your database will match with the one that's in the Business Center. So MarketAdvantage and Business Center, again, just to review, will sync automatically. Your data will be the same between the two. the Business Center always wins. So if you're going to make changes to your master list, if you will, you want to keep your master list in the Business Center, and that's where you want to know that that's the one that's always the perfect one. Someone's telling me my voice is echoing, so I'm going to take just a minute here and see if I can do something about that. Hang on just a second here. Okay, I'm not sure that that's any better. Let's see here. Are we still echoing? You guys still getting an echo from me? Okay, I'm getting signal now. At least in Burbank, they're hearing me okay. So I'm hoping that that's the case. And my apologies if it's bad for you now. It could be your phone connection. It could be just the internet if you're listening to me over the computer. So I'm gonna have to assume that it's good for the masses here, and we'll just continue on. My apologies if you're having trouble hearing me. I believe, and my check was good too, that it's recording all right. So at the very least, it should come out all right in the recording. So thank you everybody for your feedback on that. Okay, we'll get started. And remember, I'm alone, so I'm not going to be able to check those questions probably until the end on the moving forward, but I want to let you know that I will get to your questions and get them answered at the end of each session. Okay, so when you log in, you're going to see this page, and right now it happens to be a reminder about correcting your profile information. Your profile is information just about you, and this is the information, as you're looking at my profile here, that's going to go out on anything that you create in the MarketAdvantage product. So it's going to automatically populate with the Dilbeck Real Estate Real Living logo. You will need to upload your agent photo. So you click on Change Image, and you can upload a new image there. You can upload several images if you want to, and just choose between them if you want to. So you can say default agent photo and change it to that, or this different logo here, those kind of things. But really, I've already uploaded my agent photo, so we'll go to the default one there and keep that there. Now the rest of the information on this profile page, most of it will have already populated when you log in. In other words, the Real Living Business Center is going to pass that along to us, and your job, especially your first time in, is to make sure it's accurate and it's reflecting what you want it to say. So if there's any changes that need to be made, go ahead and make them, because again, anything you create and send out of the system is going to automatically populate with this information. So I'd probably want to add a title in here. I'd want to put in Realtor. And forgive me for kind of hijacking one of your offices here. I do not work for Dilbeck Real Estate, but I did want to populate this so you'd see that. But I am a Realtor. I'm a Realtor here in Denver, Colorado. So I would put in my designations if I wanted to. I could put in GRE and ABR, whatever else you might want to put there. Again, this is just information about me. This is who I am, and this is going to be on the back of a postcard or at the bottom of a property flyer or in the back of a book that I'm printing out. In California, I know you guys are required to put in your real estate license, so I'm going to put in my real estate license from Colorado here. Yours is going to look a little different, I understand that, but you'll see now on the pieces where these things appear. We're going to talk a lot about branding today, and part of that is your call to action. I'm a big believer in, if you get in front of somebody, whether it's on the internet or in print, you ask them to do something, right? It's nice for them to see your name, and I think there's a lot of bang for the buck in that as well. I mean, that's why we do bus bench ads or drop flyers on people's front porches and those kind of things. It's just that name repetition. But once they get a hold of something from you, ask them to do something. I mean, it can be as simple as call me today, or visit my website for Bonnie Bray. That's a neighborhood here in town. Bonnie Bray information. Something you want them to do something, and that's kind of a lame one. You're going to put more thought into it than I am there. But ask them to do something. Take that opportunity every time you touch somebody. Ask them to do something. Whether you want them to call you for a CMA or visit your website for your newsletter or whatever. Take that opportunity to do that. By default, the disclaimer buttons are going to be checked, and then again, those are just the the standard disclaimers for Dilbeck that say, hey, if you're already in a brokerage relationship, I'm not upsetting that, and obviously I'm paraphrasing there. The only other thing that needs a little explanation here are these social networking fields. If you are embracing social networking as far as it applies to your real estate business, then by all means put in those. There's a couple of them that you can have appear here. So let's say you have a Facebook fan page set up for your real estate business. And I'm just going to make up a fake one here, but let's say it's Facebook John's Realty Shop. Sorry guys, John's Realty Shop. Slash. Well, that's fine. So then I choose Facebook, and I want the Facebook icon to appear. So in other words, when I email you something and you receive it from me, let's say it's a just listed postcard, at the bottom of that just listed postcard email, now you're going to see a little Facebook icon, and when you click on that icon, it's going to take you to this URL. And yes, I know that's not a real URL, but I want to direct you to my Facebook fan page, or I want you to follow me on Twitter, or I'm going to direct you to my LinkedIn profile, or I'm going to have you go visit YouTube where my videos are posted for my listings. So I'm going to say John's Realty YouTube. And again, I'm making these up. Okay, you guys have to put the real ones in there. If you put www.google.com and put the YouTube thing, when somebody clicks on the YouTube thing, it's going to take them to google.com. So make sure that your URLs are correct. All right, and remember that these are just here for an example. I've made changes to this page now, so I need to save it. So I'm going to click Save Profile. From this point on, anything that I send out of the system, whether I print it, have it professionally printed, email it, post it online for someone to see, it's going to have this information on it. Okay, so there's no rocket science attached to this page, but I'm going to review it, not in this depth, but I'm going to review it every week because it's really important that it's accurate, because if I misspell my email address here, or I've got my phone number wrong, or those kind of things, like here, I should probably have hash marks in between there, and I'll fix those, and then I'll save it again. If you don't catch those kind of things, in fact, I've got an extra 0 in here, my own lesson here. If I don't catch those things, you just get used to it being there, and it's going to go out wrong over and over and over. So just make sure it's right. That's all there is to that. By the way, almost every section we're going to talk about, there is an associated video that can explain things in depth as far as what we're trying to accomplish. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to show you all the tutorials that are available. And what this is really is the system broken down into little snippets, right? Little lessons. Like this one's 4 minutes, 6 seconds on searching for contacts. This one is text editing. It's 10 minutes and 39 seconds. So if you're at a spot where you're trying to do something either that you're not familiar with or it's not working the way you think it should, number one, I'm going to always recommend that you pick up the phone and call the Real Living Help Desk, because those folks do a really good job of helping you, not only with MarketAdvantage, but with a lot of products that you've got. But I hate to think of anybody struggling with something. Pick up the phone and let somebody help you. But maybe it's midnight on a Saturday, and I know we've all been there, especially in this business, and you're trying to get something done, something maybe new, and I need to find out how to add an individual contact to my contact manager. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to launch this movie. Now, the nice thing about these video tutorials is that they're at your own pace, right? So let me expand this a little bit. And I don't know if you can hear Elise there or not, but it's narrated. She's going to teach you how to do the aspects, and I can move forward, I can move backwards, I can pause it. So it can be really interactive where, what did she say? I can pause it, back it up, and then do what she's asking me to do. So I really like the tutorials. You'll hear me mention those again. And again, just about every major section, you'll see this watch the video icon, and you'll be able to look at that and hopefully accomplish what you're trying to accomplish at that very section there. So that is your profile. Again, remember to save it every time you go in there, and it's just a really important thing. And remember the call to action. Do something in there. Yeah, by default, it's going to say "Call me today." Put something unique in there. Ask people to do something that that they wouldn't do on their own if they didn't see that from you. So in this case, go visit my website for Bonnie Bray, and then I'd probably put the URL there and that kind of thing. Okay, so that's the profile. It's this button here, so you can go to make changes anytime you want to. I'm going to go back up to the top now. We're going to take the rest of these buttons pretty much in order. I just wanted to jump ahead because it's actually the first thing you're going to be asked to fill out is that profile, so I wanted to make sure you understood what was there. Okay, I've clicked on a button now called the Today screen. And the Today screen is traditionally where you will land just sort of automatically every time you log in. And the Today screen is just for you. I know I've got agents that come in here every day, and they go and they look at things like the news feeds, and here's Riz Media, and every one of these boxes is called a widget, right? And the difference between this page and, say, MSN.com or Yahoo.com is that you have more control over what news feeds you see here. Right now, I'm just displaying these 5 different widgets. If I click on Add Widgets, there are a lot more that I can add. I can add a weather widget. I can add New York Times real estate news, MSNBC real estate news. We'll go ahead and add that one too. And then I'm just going to grab one more just so you see how they populate there. NAR Daily News. We'll add that to the page too. So now I'm going to go back to my Today screen. And I've customized it now. So there's the MSN real estate news. There's the NAR Daily News. I like seeing the Riz Media headlines first and foremost, so I'm going to move that. I'm just going to click on this and drag it up here and let it drop. See, I didn't cover anything up. It just moved the MSN things down. So play around with this kind of stuff. By the way, just in case you're not familiar with this kind of stuff, these are all news feeds. I can click on these, and it opens them up in a separate window for me. So they're good for me to know. If it's something that's interesting to me. They're good for me if I want to share this article with somebody, my clients or a coworker. I can copy out the URL and forward that to them. It's nice to have these things, and they're just included in as a set of tools for you with MarketAdvantage. Riz Media, if you're not familiar with them, they're an outfit out of New York State. They used to be a traditional printed magazine, and it's all about real estate. In fact, it's called Real Estate Magazine. But they have an online version now, and they publish 15 articles every day. And I think it's a really cool source of good things. And a lot of them are consumer-facing. So I like that one a lot. Again, if this has just put you to sleep, that's okay. A lot of agents will bypass this page altogether, and again, it's only here for you. It has nothing to do with your consumer unless you want it to, use those articles and that kind of thing. So that's the Today screen, and that's all that's about. And I encourage you to poke around in there and see what it's all about. And if it's something you find of value, go visit it. If it's not, then that's okay. All right. The only other thing that I would recommend that you use on this page is the New Contacts widget and the Calendar widget. The Calendar widget will show you things that will appear that you have scheduled in your MarketAdvantage calendar, and we'll look at that in just a minute. The MarketAdvantage calendar stands alone. It's not going to sync with your calendar in the Business Center. It's not going to sync with your Outlook calendar. It's not going to sync with anybody's calendar. You have to be in MarketAdvantage to use it. But it will show things like clients' birthdays or phone calls or tasks that you've scheduled within MarketAdvantage. So I think there's value in having that there. Likewise, new contacts that you've added. It will show any new contacts that have been added to the system in the last week. So whether you put them there or maybe they came to your website and they did sign up for your e-newsletter, their name would be listed here, and you can decide how to market to them beyond just sending them the e-newsletter. Now, if their name is here and they signed up for your e-newsletter online, you will have known about it already. The system would have already emailed you and told you, hey, Sally Smith just signed up for your e-newsletter. But then the next time you logged in, it will say Sally Smith here as well. So you'll have that as a reminder. Oh, well, yeah, Sally's getting my e-newsletter. I also want to send her my buyer's tips or something like that. So today's screen, again, just for you. Make of it what you will. I think there's a lot of value here available to you. So I like that page a lot. All right, next. Contact Manager is, we're going to look at next the Contact Manager, and then these next 3-4 tabs are really the other side of the tool. So the MarketAdvantage tool is a two-sided proposition. The first side is the contact manager. This is your data. This is where people's names, addresses, emails, phone numbers live. The other side is all of the things you can do with that data, what you can send to them. So right now we're going to look at the contact manager again, and one of the things I really like about MarketAdvantage and Real Living is that because it syncs with the Business Center, if you're using the contact manager in the Business Center, as I alluded to before, first time you log in, it's already going to pull all those contacts in for you, and you're going to have a list of names here. I've got nobody in mind. I just set this test account up to do these demos for you all. But that being said, if you're not using the Business Center to sync, or you have another list, maybe your title rep gave you a list of folks and properties in a geographic area and you want to load those in, you can do that as well. And you simply click on Import Contacts, and then you follow the directions. Well, what's my format? You know, if it's that list from the title company, it's probably an Excel spreadsheet. If I've been using Top Producer and I want to just bring a copy of my Top Producer leads in, I would follow those directions. And I'll click on that just so you get the idea here. We're not going to do these steps. Number one, it's like watching paint dry, watching somebody import contact lists. Number two, it's not something that we want to go into the minutia of today. And number three, and if I was doing this live in front of you all where I could see your faces, I lose 50% of the room here with a cold sweat and the mouth dropping open and that kind of thing, because people think this is a scary part, and it is in a way. It's the only scary part of MarketAdvantage, but it doesn't have to be. Moving data is always a challenge for folks, and I don't want you to worry about that. If you get to this point and you look at these directions, and I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and try it. But if you've never done this before, export, import, mapping fields, spreadsheets, those are all scary terms. So this is where I want you to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, look, all my folks are in Outlook, or all my folks are in Top Producer. Can you help me get them into MarketAdvantage? And we'll help you with that. Again, if it's not something that you're comfortable with, and maybe it's after hours, there's videos that'll help you do this as well. So don't fret about that part. This is the part that agents will say, you know what, I'll do that next week. I'll do that 3 weeks from now. Don't let that happen, please, because you need to load your database at a minimum so that you've got the email addresses or the physical addresses to send things out to. Don't let it be a hindrance to you. We'll even load them for you. You know, if you call us up and say, hey, all my folks are in Outlook, I can barely turn my computer on, help me. We'll help you. I will actually do it for you. So please don't let that stop you from doing it. Now, again, that being said, most of you will have the benefit of them already syncing and bringing over because you have them in your Business Center, and you'll walk in and you'll just have a big list of them here. And that'll be a good thing. By the way, again, all those videos around the contact manager listed right here. So please don't stress about that part. Now, that being said, you've got a list of folks here, and we have to imagine on mine because I don't have anybody in here, but I want to add somebody. I picked up somebody that I met at an open house, and I want to put her in here. So I'm just going to add her contact by clicking on Add a Contact, and I'm going to say Sally Smith since we started with her. So I met Sally. I don't know what her title is. I'm going to put in as much information as I've got about Sally. And when I'm doing this, you know, if I'm sitting down with an agent, frequently they'll say, you know what, I'm not going to bother putting in addresses because I'm only going to email folks because that's what my budget is right now. And I get that. But if you've got the information, go ahead and put it in, and you'll be glad, because 6 months later or 6 years later, you might say, you know what, I'm going to send out something direct mail. I sure wish I had all those people's email addresses, or excuse me, physical mail addresses. So it seems silly, but when we get in that rush where we're putting these numbers in, or, you know, it's taking time, please don't cut corners on that. And you probably wouldn't on this basic stuff, right? So first page here is all names, addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, those kind of things. If you know the client better, now again, in my scenario, this is probably more than I would have gotten from Sally at an open house, right? But so I'd be lucky to have more than just a name and an email address. But let's say this is a client of mine that you know we've done business before, and I'm just refreshing. So I'm going to add some more information if I know it. So I'm going to click on the second page here, and I happen to know that Sally's birthday is, I'm going to make them all this month just so we can see how they look on the calendar. Sally's birthday is September 29th, and her anniversary, her personal wedding anniversary, is the 25th of September. And her first, her kid's name is Kate, and she was born in 1995, right? So that makes her what, 16 now? So this is the kind of stuff that, Sally calls me up and, sort of out of the blue, I can pull up her record really quick, go to her personal information page and say, hey, how's Kate doing? Is she a sophomore now? That kind of thing. So it's having your database and data at your fingertips. Customizable fields, so customizable user fields, these can be anything that you want them to be. So maybe type of home, so Sally's looking for a ranch. I'm going to put that in there. Do what you want to with those fields. Second page is consumer information, her home purchase date. So if I put her in a property, gosh, I sure ought to have the date in here. And let's say I put her in on the 9th of September, and we'll do it this year, 9th of September 2011. Now these dates, the home purchase anniversary date, the birthday, the anniversary date, if I've got that information on people, I can actually set the system to automatically send out a birthday card or an anniversary card or a home purchase anniversary card to my clients without me having to lift another finger, right? So that's nice. So if you've got those dates, put those in there. And by the way, those can be sent by email or through traditional mail. A card will actually be printed and delivered to those folks. So if you got the information, put it in. Spot for a secondary contact. Groups and interests. Groups and interests are going to be really, really important to you to use MarketAdvantage correctly. You're probably already doing this, but your list, your main list of data, and I'm going to use round numbers. Let's say you have 200 contacts, right? You probably already have those people split up into things like past clients and prospects and, maybe even farther. Maybe it's A, B, and C prospects, those kind of things. Within MarketAdvantage, you can create and name as many groups as you want to. So I'm going to create a new group, and again, I'm going to call it that neighborhood that I like to farm. I'm going to call it the Bonnie Bray group. All I'm doing is adding a new group. Nobody lives in here yet, but I'm going to make Sally live in there right now. So Bonnie Bray. I met her at the open house that I was doing in Bonnie Bray. I'm going to put her in there. And by the way, in my conversation with Sally, she told me she likes to golf. So I'm going to mark that down too. And, if she had told me she was interested in basket weaving, I can create a new category for that too and add. So she's a golfer and an avid basket weaver. So the nice thing about these is that those are searchable later. So maybe, next year, next spring, my office is hosting a charity hole at a local golf tournament. I can search for everybody that I said was interested in golf and send that to them because that's, theoretically that's going to apply to them. The whole point of grouping your contacts is that you can now send them something that is targeted and relevant to them so that it sticks around longer than the other guy's stuff that they're getting, right? So if I send Sally something on golf or basket weaving, I got a better chance of that sticking with her and going up on the fridge and my name and the Dilbeck logo and everything being in front of her longer because I took the time to sort of categorize her and send her things of value. Now, in a broader scale, that's going to make more sense when you put your renters into a group and you send them things about renting versus buying. And when you put your prospects into a group, and maybe it's, you really drill the group down and you make a group called single female home buyers and you send them things that apply to them there. So, and we're going to talk more about this in different sessions, but think about grouping your contacts, putting them into effective groups so that you can market to them, so that you're sending them something of value to them. All right. Spots, obviously, multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, physical addresses, and preferences on how the system will contact them. Good point of knowledge here as well. By default, anyone that you put into the system is going to be contacted by the system, both by direct mail or by email. In other words, they're not going to be hindered from receiving either one of those unless you check this box. Sally Smith told me she only wants me to email her, so I'm going to say email only. What had happened now, let's say I try to add Sally to a mail out, just a postcard mail out that I'm going to send out. Her name will actually pop up and say, no, you're not going to send a direct mail piece to Sally because she has requested not to be sent direct mail. So you've got a little built-in check for yourself there. Again, by default, everybody's going to go in and you can send them whatever you want to. If someone unsubscribes from something you email, and this, it could be Sally, it could be anybody else in your database. If I emailed all of you that are listening to me right now, and 5 of you unsubscribed, 3 things would happen right away, really 4. First thing is you'd get a nice message immediately that pops up on your screen. It's got my profile information, so it would have my agent photo, my contact information, and it's almost an apology. It says, hey, you've been safely removed. I appreciate the time to communicate with you, and you won't be receiving anything else from me. Hope I didn't step on your toes. And again, I'm paraphrasing there, but it's a nice way. So immediately the client knows. Immediately the system will email you, hey, Sally Smith just unsubscribed. No problem. So now Sally knows, the agent knows, and the system unchecks this box automatically in Sally's record so that you, again, do not accidentally email her in the future. So a nice way to take care of those things. It keeps you spam compliant. It keeps your clients happy. You know what's going on. They know what's going on. We all hate getting junk email, and then, it shows up again the next day from the same sender. The system will keep you out of trouble with that. So I'm going to recheck that box just so we know. So, and by the way, that happens. Sally will get that message and she'll be like, I got click happy and I didn't mean to unsubscribe, but it says I unsubscribed. So she calls you up. I just go back into her record and I recheck the box and she's back in. All right, so we added Sally as a new contact. She's our only contact. I'm going to click Save, and it's going to take us back to our contact manager, and there she is. And here's my list of everybody that I have a contact record for. And again, we know I've only got this one. But looking at Sally, we can find out a lot. She belongs to 2 groups, the Bonnie Bray group, and she's interested in 2 things. That's right, basket weavers and golf. Later on, after I've been keeping notes on her or sending her emails, I can actually view all of those in a drop-down fashion. They'll all be listed there, and those will stay forever. So I could show every email that I've ever sent to Sally, and it'll actually have a record of what that email was, whether she opened it or not, what time she opened it. It's really kind of nice, and same thing. So I'll show you one more thing here. So we've got Sally pulled up. And let's say I want to add a meeting with Sally. And this is going to show you how it populates in the calendar that's built into MarketAdvantage. So I'm going to set this meeting we'll do it for the 27th, and we'll leave it at 8 a.m. And let's say it's, we're going to review her closing docs. And then I could type some notes here. I'm just going to type notes. And it's an hour. I'm going to add that to the calendar. So that appears here now, so it's visible for me. I could print that note, I can edit it, but most importantly, let me go out to the calendar now. So I'm in the left-hand border again, and I'm going to pull up the calendar. And I want to show you a few things on the calendar. Just since you and I have logged in, we've added a few things on there. So there's some cool stuff. Sally's birthday appears right here. Her anniversary appears right here. Her purchase anniversary isn't going to show up on this calendar, but it will show up if I added her to the purchase anniversary campaign. And we're going to talk about campaigns, I think, next week. Yeah, we'll talk about them next week. But the campaigns are cool. In depth, we'll talk about them. But in essence, I could enroll Sally in an anniversary campaign for her purchase, and every year she's going to get a card from me that says, hey, it's been 1 year since I put you in this property. Hey, it's been 2 years. Those kind of things. So it's really nice. And here's that closing message that we set up and put there. So that's nice as well. This works both ways too. If on the 30th I want to schedule another phone call or something with Sally, I can click on the day, and at 10:30 a.m. Come on. I want to add a phone call or an important date. I can put those in here and do that as well. So let's do a call. And we'll call Sally. Call Sally, review, closing. I'll put those notes in. And I'll add that. So now that's in our calendar as well. So just remember, this calendar will not look at or sync with any other calendar, you've got to be in MarketAdvantage to use that. And I know that that's, for some of you, that's really cool. And for some of you, it's like, you know what? I got 3 calendars already, John. That's fine. I'll pass on that. And that's okay too. You don't have, there's, no aspect of MarketAdvantage that you have to utilize. They're all just sort of extra add-ins. So back to the Contact Manager homepage. This is like a 1,000-foot view at this Contact Manager, and I get that. This first day is really, you're not supposed to be able to, nobody expects you to walk away from today's lesson and be like, wow, I'm going to go out and do all of these things that John showed me. I want you to get a sense of what's here, and then we're going to drill into it over the next 4 weeks. So that is the Contact Manager. We're going to move on now to the marketing materials and the associated campaigns and the e-newsletter. Marketing materials, and here comes your homework for this week. This marketing material tree, you'll see all these different categories here. This marketing materials tree represents about 33, give or take, 3,300 pieces of marketing material. There's property flyers, there's postcards, there's newsletters. It's a lot of stuff. You and I are not going to look through it. I'm just going to open some of these. You and I are not going to look through 3,300 pieces today or in any of these weeks, but we are going to get together and build a couple. So just for example, and I'm realistic. I know that the lion's share of you are going to use MarketAdvantage to create things like this, property flyers, postcards, just listed, just sold, those kind of things. And that's okay. It's a really cool product for that. But your homework, if I can, and again, it's up to you. Go away in the next week between now and when we get together again and drill through this. Just look around. Go to these different categories. Look at things like door hangers, right? And you might say to yourself, oh my goodness, I am not doing a door hanger. I haven't done a door hanger for 10 years. I just want you to see what's available, right? So that 6 months from now, when your lender comes to you and says, hey, I'm thinking about doing some door hangers. You want to go in on those with me? I figure we'll put us both on them and I'll go walk the neighborhood, or, my kid's going to do it. You can say, hey, I know where we can get some door hangers. And then, you can go back into MarketAdvantage and find those things, and you'll know where they are. So that's your homework. Find out what's in here. There's photo books. There are wall calendars, all kinds of different newsletters. Do that, and you'll be miles ahead of what's available on that kind of stuff. So let's build one property flyer together today, only because I want you to see how easy it is to use the system if you haven't used it at all yet. So there's 144 property flyers in the system. I'm just going to grab this 3-photo flyer, and I'm going to pull this into the editor. So I click on Create and Edit. And again, if I'm clicking too fast for you, don't stress about it. Nobody expects you to walk out of this and replicate what I'm doing. I just want you to see how it works. So this can be a little frustrating for people sometimes. Pulling this in, they always say, oh, this takes forever. It really doesn't, but again, I'm used to it and I know what it's doing. It's loading all the different elements. So now I can start editing. Here's my property flyer, right? And just before I go on, almost everything in the system is, once it's built and saved, is deliverable a myriad of ways. This property flyer, once we're done building this together, I can email it. I can print it myself. I can order it for professional print. I can post it online, like on a Craigslist ad or my website, where somebody clicks on a button or a link and the thing comes up. And all we did was build it and save it once. So it's really cool to be able to do that and have it save it in all those different formats so that you can quickly and easily do that. So that being said, though, let's go ahead and build it. So I can change almost anything I want to on this flyer, except for the flyer itself. I picked this flyer because I liked the red corners with the little red swoop in them, right? Anything else I can change. So where it says just listed, I'll click on the text there, and I'm just going to, just like in Word or anything else, I'm going to say newly listed. And this is not my price. I'm going to click on the price box, and just for speed, I'm going to change this quickly. $7.49 is my price. This is not my property. This picture is just here holding place for me. I'm going to click on that. And above now, I have image tools. So I'm going to replace the image. And again, I know I'm clicking through this really fast. Just bear with me. These are pictures that I've already uploaded into the system. These are my pictures. I uploaded them just like you would from your listings. If you haven't uploaded them yet, or for this particular property, you simply browse out into your computer and find them and upload them. We're going to use some that I've already put in just for speed's sake. And again, I'm going to grab this beach house. You see how I click on that and it automatically populates it there. Now, the picture that I've got of beach house doesn't really fit in the old box. And that's okay. If I click off of this, the old borders disappear. But if I wanted it to fit in this box perfectly, I can crop it. So I'm going to click on the picture again, click on crop image, and this highlighted where it's still bright, that's the correct aspect ratio for that box that it was in originally. So I'm just going to pull this out a little bit, get as much of the picture as I can, and maybe move it up and over. Yeah, I think I'd rather have it cut off there, and then crop image. And it's going to pop it right in there now, and it's going to be the right size and the right aspect ratio. And by the way, I can still make this bigger or smaller. I can make it smaller and bring in another one. You see what I mean, how you can change the templates if you want to. But I'm going to leave it like that. I like that. It's good. The Dilbeck logo is already there, but you know what? I want it up here because that's just how I roll. So I'm going to make that a little bigger too. I like that better like that. And then you would go through and you'd make all your other changes. You'd click on this text box and type in your own description. You'd click on these property photos and replace them. Here's the rest of my profile information. But for speed's sake, let's just agree that it looks great and it's ready to go. I'm going to click on Save, Save As. I'm going to give it a name, and we'll call this one Dilbeck Test. And I'm going to save it. So now the system's doing that save that I talked about before. It's saving it in an email format. It's saving it in a self-print format. It's saving it in a professional print format, and it's saving it in a web post format. So we can do all those things with it, and it's available to us. So very cool stuff. Very easy to edit things within the Real Living MarketAdvantage accounts there as well. So again, 10,000-foot view of the marketing materials, but that's your homework. Poke through the marketing materials, play with them. You cannot break anything, all right? You can create things, make some things. If you haven't done this at all, go in, play around, create some things, email them to your friends, family, call somebody over and say, hey, what do you think this looks like? That kind of thing, and just see what you think of what's in there. We're going to spend more time on those in the future. I want to get through the rest of this overview for today and then get to your questions. Okay, next button down is the campaigns, and you've heard me allude to those a couple of times already. I love the campaigns because they make your life so much easier, and you'll see why. I clicked on campaigns. I clicked on build a new campaign. In the pre-built campaigns, there's already about 65 that are done for me. So all I need to do is say, well, what am I here to do? Well, I was going to do a prospect campaign for those single female home buyers. So here's how I do it. I click on prospecting, and then I just say, well, who's my prospect? Is it first-time home buyers? Is it investors? Is it renters? Is it single female home buyers? That category was created, by the way, because 3 years ago, I think NAR identified that was the biggest segment of new home purchasers. I think it was 2009, was single female home buyers. So we built that for MarketAdvantage so that you'd have those at your fingertips. So what has happened here is the system has put together this campaign of pieces. And if we email it, it's 12 emails. If we send it direct mail, it's 12 direct mail pieces. If we send it multi-channel, which is half and half, 6 emails and 6 direct mails, it's still 12 pieces, but it's broken up half and half. So in its simplest form, I'm going to say, you know what, I've got an email list of these folks. I'm going to send this out to them. The nice thing is, once it's put into action, and we'll put this into action, we'll send this to Sally Smith. She'll get all 12 of these pieces from me automatically once we're done with this, and I don't have to lift another finger. They're just going out over time to her. And as you can see, here's the schedule. 7 days after I first start this campaign, she's going to receive this first piece. 15 days later, she's going to receive this piece, and then 15 days later, etc. By the way, there's a couple of activities sprinkled in here. So after Sally has received this fourth piece, I'm going to get an email that says pick up the phone and call Sally, right? And it's nice that way. You can stay in touch with your clients. I like these call to actions because they keep me involved with what's going on. Oh, Sally's on piece number 5, right? So it's a nice way to do that. By the way, these thumbnails, and this is what you would do before. I don't expect you to just launch a blind campaign and not know what's going out. So you'll click on each one of these and preview them and see what's here. So looking for a place of your own, and depending on your screen, I don't know how much of this you can see, but it says watch the TV shows you want, take a shower as long as you want, and listen to your own music as loud as you want. And then this is the email version. So you see all of my contact information, my branding appearing here automatically in this email. If it was a printed piece, that's a postcard. Obviously, all that would be on the front and all my contact information on the back. So again, and sorry, I digressed there a little bit. I chose this campaign. I want to send it out. So my next step is to say, hey, that campaign was great. Let's get it going to Sally. So I'm going to check her. And you would, you'd probably be adding a whole list of people or a group of people, right? But we only have one person to work with, so I'm going to add Sally. It did a quick check to make sure that I had an email address for Sally because this is an email campaign. It shows that I do, and it just asks that I have I previewed all the elements, add her to the campaign, and there she is. She's on the send side now. I click save and activate. I don't have to do another thing now. 7 days from now, just as we outlined before, on 9/26, that first postcard will be emailed out to Sally, and then the rest of them will just go out automatically on that same schedule unless she unsubscribes, right? And then it takes care of itself, and it would just stop if it was just this one person. But the campaigns are nice because they are varied, and I'm going to go back to sort of the campaign home. They are varied. You can put people in campaigns for almost anything you can think of. Again, birthdays and anniversaries that we talked about a little bit, newsletters, home and garden stuff, right? I'm not a big fan of the fluffy stuff. 15 years ago when I was selling real estate, we didn't have a choice. I mean, a guy would walk in the office, he'd say, hey, this month I'm sending out recipe cards, who wants in, right? And if I wanted something to go out, I'd give him my list of 300 people and pay him, and he'd send out a recipe card to everybody. I don't have to do that anymore because the truth is those recipe cards probably only rang a bell with 5 people out of those 300. So it was wasted time, effort, and money sending that stuff out. Now I can send the recipe cards, like we've got them. I mean, they're in here. I can send the recipe cards to the 5 people that I know like to cook, and I can split up the rest of my list and send them things that are important to them. Some of them will be prospects, right? Like people that are moving up, or investors, those kind of things. So this is where the grouping that I talked about comes in, and this is where you can get really creative and put people in campaigns that are going to appeal to them and hopefully resonate with them, and you're getting good results that way because they're reading them, right? And hopefully they're keeping them around. And to be perfectly candid, that's what we want. We want our stuff to reach our consumer and stick around longer than the next guy's stuff. And by stick around, it means stay out of the trash can, right? And some realtors get really offended by that, and they're like, oh, I only send things of value. Great, I'm glad you only send things of value. That means they're staying out of the trash. That's what you want, and that's good. So you guys you've all been doing this over time, and I know I'm preaching to the choir on this kind of stuff, but that's what the campaigns are for, is to make your life easier to do that kind of targeted marketing. All right, real quick, e-newsletter. E-newsletter is awesome in that it is an automated electronic newsletter, so it's emailed, right? It goes out automatically first Tuesday of every month. You don't have to do a thing to it if you don't want to. If you don't do anything except for say, hey, send this to everybody, and by the way, this is the one thing that I think you should send to everybody. Forget what I just said in the last part about the campaigns. This is a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. Everybody you know should be getting the e-newsletter from you. You can kind of see in this thumbnail what it looks like, and I'll show you the preview. There's no articles in here yet because it will populate with those automatically. We write 5 articles for you every month. and they are always consumer facing. They're always timely, so they're not going to be generic, watered down like how do we improve your home with staging. A lot of value in that, there's no doubt, but they're going to be more timely than that kind of thing. So if you want to get fancy with it, you can add your own articles to it. You can feature your listings on it, but in its simplest form, you tell the system who to send it to, you add them to the e-newsletter, and every first Tuesday of the month, your newsletter goes out, and it's just automatic, and they're getting this cool newsletter from you, and it's built in. It's just included for you. So that's a cool product. And again, we're going to spend more time in depth on that in later sessions. So I really like the e-newsletter. 3 things I want you to take away from today. If I can get you to do this, I will consider it a victory for everybody. Load your database, or if you're already, as we talked about, if you're already using the database in the Business Center, log into MarketAdvantage, your database will already pull over. So that's number 1, load that database. Number 2, start the e-newsletter. That's the category we're in right here. And again, watch the video on how to do that. Put everybody you know in the e-newsletter. And then on August, oh gosh, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but August whatever, the first Tuesday of August, you've got something going out already, and it's automated, and it's branded, and it's real estate related, and it's cool. And then third, if you can, pick out a campaign and put some people in a campaign. Don't send a campaign to everybody, but send somebody in a group of yours a campaign, whether it's direct mail or email, and just get that going. And then if life comes up and you're busy and you've got listings and you've got showings and you've got open houses, you've got stuff going out anyway without ever having to log into MarketAdvantage again until you got time. So those are my 3 biggies. All right. Whew, today is a whirlwind day, and I know you just saw a ton of stuff, which is why we break this out over 5 weeks, and we're going to be more dedicated on it. Next week, we're talking about adding contacts in the minutia, importing contacts, understanding grouping. We're going to really drill down and make sure you understand all of that. I'm going to look now and see if we've got some new questions, and I'll see if I can't get those answered before we have to end here. All right. All right, I'm backing up here because I got to read these over. Okay, first question is, why would we enter a contact in MarketAdvantage instead of the Business Center? It moves over to MarketAdvantage automatically from the Business Center, correct. That is absolutely correct, and it's a great point. You may choose, and the only reason I showed you that within MarketAdvantage is that if you're not using the Business Center for your contact management, then you'll want to know how to put them into MarketAdvantage. But absolutely, and I'm going to say this out loud, really loud, the Business Center always wins. That is your master list if you're using the Business Center contact manager. So changes in the Business Center will be reflected when you log into MarketAdvantage, but it doesn't work the other way. So Sally Smith that I put in will not now be added to my Business Center contact manager, because the Business Center always wins. It's not going to do a two-way sync. So great question, and I thank you for asking that, because hopefully that clarifies it. Will groups from the next question? Will groups from the Business Center transfer to MarketAdvantage? No, unfortunately, at this time they don't. They don't transfer over, and that came up in the manager training that I did on Friday. So I'm looking into that and seeing if we can't get that fixed really quickly, because that would be a big bonus for everybody. But another great question. Thank you. Next question is, I had an email last week rejected because it said I cut and pasted. Once I did it the second time, I tried it, said the same thing, but that time I did not include the cut and paste. Any ideas? I do have a couple ideas. And again, without knowing the specifics of it, I'm just shooting in the dark. But when I've had trouble with that, and what this person's referring to is they copied an article or some text and pasted it into their marketing material, and then it was rejecting it. It was saying the formatting was bad. If that happens, and I'm talking about text here, and again, Eric, if this isn't exactly your situation, shoot me an email offline, and I see if I can't get a better answer. But if you're having an issue with that, number one, I would call the help center. Number two, if you're on your own, I would paste it into Notepad. Notepad is a program that comes along with your, if you've got Microsoft anyway, it's just a program where you can jot down notes. If you paste something into Notepad, it removes the formatting, and then when you copy it out of Notepad and paste it in, it should allow you to do that because it's removed any of that formatting, and that formatting is what's giving you the problem. So, and I know I'm putting some people to sleep on this part, so I appreciate the opportunity to answer that. And again, Eric, if you need me to answer that further, I'll be glad to do that. Okay. Next question, are we able to print flyers through our own printer? Absolutely. So again, the output on almost every one of these pieces, some exceptions are like the books and things like that. They just don't, they don't set up for self-printing, but a property flyer like the one we built together, you can absolutely print that off of any printer you want to. So it'll save it in that format for you. So great question. You're not locked into printing anywhere specifically. You can really print anywhere you want to. Next question is, can I change the timeline of the campaigns? That's a good question, and it's sort of a twofold question. The MarketAdvantage product is available in different stages, right? So in the regular package, which is what we're looking at here, you can't make those kind of changes. It's just the way they are. But in the upgraded version, you can. You can make those changes on the timeline, and you can even, remove pieces or move them around. So it's, again, yes and no on that. In the basic product, you cannot. In the advanced product, you can. And then I see here someone says to me, "Hey, try October." I think I alluded to the wrong month there when I was talking about the newsletter coming out. So I appreciate that. I think I said August. So I think that's what that's about. And I appreciate that too. So next question is, do we have campaigns for REOs, expireds, and short sales? Yes and no again. Nothing terribly specific, and I'll just pull that open for you if you want. There are campaigns for what we call distressed properties in here. And let me see if I can figure out where I've got those. Prospecting. So you've got like distressed properties here. Nothing that is going to be more, these are really consumer facing, and nothing really built for the expireds either, at least not at this point. So I'm going to make a note of that question as well, because content suggestions are awesome, and that helps a lot. Okay, well, that's the questions that I see so far. If anybody has any other questions, go ahead and type them in real quick, and I'll see if I can't get them answered. Otherwise, I'm just looking forward to picking up again next Monday. Do me a favor, and just if you can, it'd be great if you can go in and load your data. And again, most of you, that will already be done. If you could start your e-newsletter, that would be great. So it goes out in October. Hopefully I got that right now. And if you see a campaign in there that strikes your fancy, get that started as well. Somebody's asking now about campaigns for sale by owners. And again, I don't think there's a for sale by owner campaign in here either. Let's see if I can scroll back up here. So again, poke around and see if you can find them. I'm pretty sure there's not a specific FSBO campaign in here, but it's a great question. And if you find it, shoot me an email and let me know as well. But I am 99% sure that that's not in there. However, something again that I will take with me and see if we can't get added for you on behalf of Real Living. So looking forward to next week. We'll talk about turning leads into clients and getting more referrals. Week 3, we're going to talk about getting listings away from your competitors. And along the way, in each one of these sessions, we're going to look at different parts of the system and different tools in more depth. So that's what we'll be looking at there. Oh, good. I see a new question here. Can we load, here's the question, can we load in the info on one property once and get flyers and just listed cards? Great question. The question is basically, and again, if I'm understanding it, can I create a property flyer like we did together, and then will it take that information and automatically populate, say, a just listed or an open house card from that? And it will not, unfortunately. But I do have a cool thing that you can do, and that's with the MLS pieces. So if we go back, I'm going to go back to marketing materials. So the answer to your direct question is no. A piece that I created will not allow me to create a secondary piece directly off of it. However, if I go into, say, the flyers and then I do the MLS data flyers, I can populate those automatically from the MLS, or postcards. I can do property cards off the MLS data. So, and I'm not set up in your folks' MLS, but if you go in and play with that, you'll see how that looks, and it's really cool. You enter the MLS listing. In fact, you'll have a choice of them, a drop-down list of which listing you want, and it'll automatically build your card for you. And you can still make changes to it just like we did, but it'll really save you time. So, not exactly what you were looking for in your question, but hopefully that's a good solution for time saving on properties. So. Okay. Well, on that note, it has been an hour. I appreciate you spending the better part of your Monday afternoon with me. Looking forward to the coming sessions. Remember, these are being recorded, and I will forward those links as they're available to Lori Hawkins. And I'm not sure where she's posting them for you to see, but the videos themselves end up on a special channel on YouTube. So you'll take that and you'll be able to log in and review what we've seen here, or again, pass it on to an associate perhaps that wasn't able to see it. So. Thanks again for your time today. Looking forward to the upcoming sessions, and I appreciate all the great questions. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks again. Bye-bye.